everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Okay, so it's the Joe Judge press conference, the aftermath. You know what about press conferences? It's a dog and pony show. You hope it goes well. You hope it doesn't turn into an Adam Gaze. You some ways hope that you get a Rex Ryan press conference from when he took over the Jets. But you know what? They don't change your opinion on anything. I mean, he didn't pull a McAdoo. So, I mean, the problem with it is if you were a fan of the Judge hire, what he said today really didn't change your mind about who he is and what he is going to do for the team, or what he thinks he can do for the team. Now, if you are a detractor of Judge, what he said today probably didn't sway you. You're probably still thinking the same thing. Well, he's not Matt Rule. He's 30. He's only 38. Dude, I wish I knew when 38 became a kid, because I want to go back to 38 and tell people, I'm still a kid. But neither here nor there. I mean, so it probably didn't sway you either way from your perspective as a fan, if you like him or if you didn't like him. And that's fine. I mean, that's what fans are. That's what we do. I mean, but again, like I said, I don't like throwing out the Judge resume. I don't even like throwing out my own resume. But, we have to just take a look briefly again at some of the things that, he has done in his career. I mean, he's worked under Saban and Belichick. He was on the staff of 3 Super Bowl teams. First time serving as a special assistant teams coach for one of those games. And then he was promoted to the special teams coordinator for 2 more of those games. So, he still serviced, he's still spoken for another team all the time. So, he's articulate. I think we found out today he's articulate enough to hope to sway the factors to people that, that we were hiring an idiot. Because I see a lot of people say, well, we hired an idiot. And then if you go back to his college days when he worked for Saban, I mean, he was there from 2009 to 11. And he worked with special teams for those 3 years, and they won 2 BCS national championships. I mean, so he's been a coach for X amount of years. He has, over 10 years. He has the pedigree. I think today you were just hoping that he didn't fall on his face, and I personally don't think he did that. But to me, press conferences, like I said, don't mean a hill of beans. I mean, if you were on the fence about Judge, I'm calling him Judd. Maybe if you were on the fence about Judge, not leaning one way or the other, that you may have looked at this press conference today and go, you know what? This guy seems pretty smart. He seems like he's got his stuff together. Maybe we need to give him the opportunity to show that what he can do for the team. But but like I said, I don't think anyone is going to look at today's press conference and really go, that press conference really moved the needle for me. I mean, I really think that, like I said, if you were a huge Judge detractor, I don't see you sitting there going today, well, you know what, he really changed my mind. Because there's just so many people that wanted the Rule hire. And I find it hysterical that probably 4 weeks ago, when we were still looking at Ron Rivera and McCarthy, no one really knew who the hell Rule was. I know who Rule was because Temple's 45 minutes away from my house. And I also knew him at Baylor because I know a lot of a Baylor alum. But but you can't just, like I said, I wish the press conference today would have been like, like where, I mean, you know what I mean? Like some bombastic thing that people would have been like, wow, that guy's just really, but and if you even go the other way, if he was bombastic, people would have been like, well, this guy is pretty arrogant for a guy that's never even won anything. But you know what? That's what probably the detractors are thinking right now. That this guy is arrogant, and my thing is, was I happy with the Joe Judge hire? No, I wasn't. I'm 100% honest with that. I wanted Wink. I wanted Martindale. I did. I thought that he had a better pedigree. Like I said, we made some calls around the league about Wink, and Wink is evidently players love Wink. I mean, they want to play for him. You can see that on his defense in Baltimore. But you know what? Gettleman, Mara, and Tisch must have seen something that Joe Judge portrayed in his interviews that they made. I don't think it was a panic reaction to hire Joe after they lost Matt Rule. I don't think that. I know a lot of people go, well, they panicked. They hired Rule. I mean, they Carolina hired Rule, and we just panicked and hired Judge. No, I think in some ways, with Rule calling the Giants up and saying, hey, listen, they offered me $10 million a year. You match it, and I'll come be your head coach. If I was the Giants, I'd look at that and go, well, we haven't even interviewed you yet, and you're asking us for money. Again, we've gone over this about Rule. Rule took the Temple job. Rule, after, turning, I do give him credit with turning the Temple program around, because honestly, when you're on the bottom, there's no place to go but up. He took him to a bowl game, second to last year, lost a bowl game, took the Baylor job at the end of the other next year. He left before the bowl game, which, Temple won, to take the Baylor job. Then he's at Baylor, and then last year he goes over for the Jets job. The Jets tell him, you know what, Mr. Rule, we want to hire you, but we don't want to give you total control of getting your staff because you are a college coach. He didn't like that. Went back to Baylor, and September 19 signed a new contract to 2027 with Baylor with a huge buyout, and then 6 months later is interviewing for NFL jobs? I mean, is that the guy we want as our coach? Is that showing stability? You know what? And people are like, well, he'll be good with the young guys. You know what the problem is with being good with the young guys? The young guys are only young for so long. They grow up. They become more and more professionals. They get further removed from college. So what, you're gonna have that for 1 year? It reminds me of the Greg Schiano, old Rutgers coach who went to Tampa. He had an okay good year in Tampa first year. I think he was 7-9. His teams played hard because they were a young team. They had that play against the Giants that he jumped. His team tried to jump over the victory formation to try to knock the ball away. It was a college play. He took a lot of crap for that. So what happened? The next year, the wheels fell off the bus. Why? They brought in some more free agents. They became more professional, and they don't want to listen to the rah-rah college guy anymore. So let's just you know what? We don't play any games till September. I mean games that count. We haven't even gone through. We haven't gone through the combines. We haven't gone through free agency. We haven't done anything yet. He doesn't have his staff in place yet. Like I said, everyone's talking about Garrett. Garrett can't sign anything until the 14th because he's still under contract with the Cowboys. But like I said, today's conference, I don't think it moved the needle one way or the other for anybody. Maybe it did sway some people. But like I said, if you were against the hire, after today, you're probably still against the hire. You're probably like, well, this is a kid who doesn't know anything. He's just trying to say the right things and this and that. And if you were a fan of the Judge, you're like, wow, look how articulate and wonderful he is and, how smart he seems and we seem like the organization's in good hands. Do I know? No. Nobody knows. And wait a minute. We are actually getting some messages about Joe. And but you know what? We will save that for another episode. Some interesting information just came in, but it's not confirmed, so we're not going to talk about it. It's not really. I'm reading it now. It's not really about Joe. It's about one of our own free agents. But we'll talk about that later, probably the next podcast. But like I said, I wish this press conference, would have done something, but it's a press conference. It's probably one of the most boring 30, 40 minutes in football to me. And that's all it is. And like I said, I hope that after seeing this, some people give Joe a chance. And I hope after seeing this that some of his detractors are like, you know what? Maybe he's not bad off. Maybe he's good for the franchise. I'm hoping he is. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Next week, we are going to start a new 3-part series where we break down the New York Giants roster. We're going to start with, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have to wait and see, but we are going to do a 3-part series breaking down the roster, breaking down the talent that is already on the roster, and taking a look at, again, what free agents may help fill out some of the roster that we have right now. And again, guys, you know what? Let's get behind Joe. Let's get behind the judge. All hail the judge. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports and talk and entertainment, and thanks for listening.